Obviously, spoiler warning. So the new Eternals movie did a lot of like new world building and lore that they introduced into the MCU. And honestly, I thought they did a pretty good job with it and it was really interesting, but there is some questions about like the lore that they kind of brought up that I started to think about the more I thought about it. One of them is like a big plot point in the movie is that it's like revealed that the Eternals are actually like robots. Made by the Celestials, and that's why they're immortal. That definitely is different. I didn't think much of it either until like the post-credit scene, or spoiler alert, Harry Styles is in the MCU. And he apparently is Thanos' brother or something. and that made me wonder, like, since Harry Styles' character is an Eternal, and he's the brother of Thanos, and Eternals are robots, does that mean this whole time Thanos has been a robot? I don't know how that makes me feel. Another thing that I thought about is like the Celestials themselves. They're born from planets with like intelligent life. And that made me wonder, how come the Celestials never intervened with the whole Thanos stuff? Because like he snapped away half of all intelligent life. And if intelligent life is what they need to make new Celestials, like how come they didn't go, maybe we should intervene about that? Since Ego is considered a Celestial, and like his major villain plan was he's gonna put his seed on every planet and take over the universe. How come the Celestials didn't show up and be like,
what the dog doing?
I don't know, these are questions I think about. Another thing that happened in the movie that made me sad is I just realized that like Marvel just despises Stark. Yeah, they made Iron Man sacrifice himself, and then in What If they just made him die like 17 times. And then in this movie, they kill off a Stark brother. Like, come on, man. So yeah, those are just some of my thoughts on the movie. Some questions that I just wanted to bring up. Overall, I guess my review of the movie, I honestly thought it was a pretty good movie. Like, it's definitely not the best Marvel movie ever made, but it's definitely not the worst Marvel movie ever made. Like, if you're saying that it's worse than Thor: The Dark World, you're definitely biased. It honestly was a pretty good movie. The only thing I guess I gotta say about it is like, I guess it's kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy, where they try to like introduce a new cast of characters that in the comics no one cares about. They just didn't do as good of a job as Guardians did. It's basically just like the Guardians of the Galaxy from Wish. I think the movie definitely would have benefited from being like a two-parter because there's a lot they try to do in this movie. So yeah, there's like a lot of characters that didn't get fleshed out that well. Like Gilgamesh, I think, was done dirty. Like, the only thing he gets to do is bake a pie, and that's like his whole character arc. Then he's killed off. It's like, come on, man. Yeah, that's another thing, is they killed off like a third of the Eternals. It's like, why introduce like this big team and then like, oh, we're gonna kill a third of them off in the first movie. It's like what happened to Quicksilver. First movie he shows up and he's dead immediately. Speaking of Quicksilver, they do introduce a new speedster in the form of Makkari, and hey, she didn't die in this movie, so at least we have a speedster. And she's honestly actually like probably one of my favorite Eternals. But yeah, speedster that they did really well and didn't kill off in the first nanosecond. I guess that's all I really gotta say about the movie.